Everyone. For this one, I want to talk through something that happened this week. OpenAI shutting down its Atlas browser, but I mostly want to use it to get to a bigger question, which is how you decide where to actually spend your time when you're optimizing for AI search. So the news is the hook, but the idea underneath it is the part I really care about, and it's the part that keeps mattering long after this particular story fades. So the headline is that OpenAI is retiring Atlas, its standalone desktop browser, and it's doing that less than 9 months after it launched. And the easy reaction, especially given how much OpenAI has killed off this year, is to say the company is just thrashing around with no real direction. I get why people would land there, but I don't think that's the interesting read. And honestly, I don't think it's the accurate one either. When it comes to why they'd kill something people were actually using, the browser isn't really failing so much as getting absorbed. The agent features from Atlas are moving into a Chrome extension, into the ChatGPT desktop app, and into a cloud browser that runs on their own servers. So the capability lives on. It's just moving inside the places OpenAI already reaches people every day. And internally, the framing was pretty blunt about this. Their applications lead talked about the company getting distracted by side quests and said the fragmentation was slowing them down. Back in March, there was already a plan floating around to fold ChatGPT, Codex, and Atlas into a single desktop app. So this really reads as consolidation, collapsing everything down into ChatGPT as the one hub. And Atlas is not alone here, which is the part that makes the pattern obvious. If you line up what OpenAI retired or deprecated just this year, it's a long list. The Sora app, the Dolly image models, the Assistance API, evals, Agent Builder, the Sora 2 API, and a whole wave of other older GPT-4 era models. By my count, that's at least 8 product and model lines in the past year. Seen as a bare list, yeah, it looks like churn, but seen with that consolidation logic behind it, it looks a lot more like a plan. And I think both things are true at the same time. The sprawl that made all this cutting necessary was real, and the cutting itself is deliberate. Which brings me to the thing I actually want you to walk away with, something that I've started calling surface half life. Basically, it's how long a given AI surface lasts before it either gets folded into the core product or shut off entirely. A standalone browser, a single purpose app, those have a short half life. When the vendor consolidates, that's the first thing to get cut, and any optimization work you tied specifically to it goes right along with it. The hub, though, and the plumbing underneath it, so the retrieval, the citation behavior, the product feed, all of that has the longest half life because it survives every reshuffle almost by definition. The reshuffling happens to the surfaces and not to the plumbing. And this is really not the first time we've watched this play out. Thinking back to ChatGPT plugins, that whole ecosystem launched in 2023 with a ton of third party excitement, and it was basically gone by April of 2024, folded into GPTs and native features. So if you'd build optimization work specifically around the plugin service, that lasted you about a year. Meanwhile, the structured data and feed work from that exact same period is still paying off today. You saw the same shape with in-chat checkout. OpenAI pulled instant checkout after Walmart reported it converting about 3 times worse than just sending shoppers to their own website, but the feed infrastructure underneath it actually grew. So again, the surface moved and the plumbing stayed. And I'll be honest with you, I've watched this cost real teams, real time. I've seen dev groups sink tens of hours in a release cycle chasing whatever AI surface is the shiny new priority that quarter. And a lot of the time, it just doesn't convert into anything. I'm not saying don't experiment. Experimenting with a new surface is completely reasonable, and you should. What I'm saying is don't make it the major bet on your engineering roadmap, especially when the surface itself might get shut down inside of a year. In practical terms, where should the real effort actually go? Put it on the hub and the plumbing. So, how ChatGPT and the other engines retrieve and cite you, and whether your product feed is genuinely clean and complete. That's the work that keeps paying out no matter which wrapper ships next, because you're not really betting on Atlas or on whatever replaces it. You're betting on the hub still needing good inputs, and it always will. The one thing that would actually change my mind here is if OpenAI relaunches a standalone consumer surface and then sustains it well past a year, or if this whole consolidation stalls out now that the exec who drove it has stepped back. Until then, I think the boring read is the right one. OpenAI is deciding out loud and at some cost what it wants to be, and it wants to be the hub. I wrote all of this in a lot more detail over on the site. So links in the description. And if you're weighing where to put your own AI search effort right now, I genuinely love to hear where you're drawing the line between experimenting and committing real roadmap time. Catch you on the next one.